Today we continue with our class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We start with Sefer Chaim. And today's topic is big topic is the same, Lashon Hara, laws of derogatory speech. And today's topic is common knowledge. Derogatory statement is considered Lashon Hara even when the information is common knowledge. For as stated above, to speak negatively over one's fellow is shameful in itself. So it doesn't matter, everybody knows, everybody is talking about it. For us, is absolutely irrelevant. Okay. It's forbidden. Negative information about Jews appearing in newspapers may not be repeated. So all of these so-called Jewish websites, right, that Jewish news, they are absolutely Rashim according to our to our halacha. Right? You're not allowed to repeat the negative information about the Jews, and many times what they do, they repeat some information that it was not even confirmed, that authorities had some case about some person, some religious person, right? Not allowed, even if it was confirmed and he's going to jail, this or that, or whatever happened, that doesn't matter. We're not allowed to repeat. Unless it is known Rasha and this and that. But I would say, why would you waste your life on this Rasha instead of learning Torah, right? What are you achieving? Okay, so negative information about Jews appearing in, okay, we say that, sorry. Newspaper often publish articles based on hearsay, and thus one is not even permitted to believe such information if newspaper is its only source. Even after one has verified the information, he may nevertheless not repeat it. Okay, so even if it is true, so as we said before, we're allowed to speak negatively, or only for constructive purpose. So somebody comes to me and let's say, and person asks for my help, right? If I can help with another person, okay. So I say, okay, tell me the case. How do I know? So and I'm allowed, for example, if allowed to hear some certain information, and if I hear that it's not, I don't want to get involved, so I'm not allowed to listen any further. But if I'm going to get involved and try to help that person, yes, I'm allowed to listen to information, and that person is allowed to speak, but we're trying to keep only whatever is pertinent to the case, but no more. Okay, so we have to be careful. Okay, stop here. So we continue with our topic, which is very interesting, very informative, and very, very important. And it's Siman 47, and topic is laws of wine of idolaters. And we completed 3 Sefim, so I have to repeat what we said, just a quick summary. So wine of non-Jews, never permitted, never, ever. Just 1 second, let me connect the charger. Sorry, 1 second, sorry. Okay, so the wine of non-Jews are never permitted, and many times when a non-Jew is going to leave the bottle, shake it a little, so it's still not allowed. Not allowed to drink. We said there is maybe lenient opinion that you can derive some benefit, but we try not to follow that opinion. Okay, but I'm not going to repeat what we said last time, but I want to just emphasize the last halacha that we said, which is very important. So all of this does not apply to a Jewish wine, to kosher wine, that was cooked. Meaning we said that it was heated up to 175 degrees of Fahrenheit or 79.4 Celsius. Okay, so this is considered to be cooked. Okay, and if in case of the need, I'm not sure how what one would measure. Okay, so but it says in case of the need, 165 degrees of Fahrenheit or 73.9 of Celsius. Okay, so this wine, of course, it did not boil, for sure, it did not boil, but it's considered to be cooked. So if non-Jew is going to touch this wine or shake it or move it to pour for you, there is no problem. There is no problem whatsoever. So when you buy wine, so as we said last time, unless you have only a Shoma Shabbos absorbent juice in your house and among your guests, so don't buy non-cooked wine. Not a good idea. Okay, not a good idea. So it would say next to the kosher sign. Is it always called the kosher sign? I think so. I think so. Or almost always next to the kosher sign, it would say mivushal. Right? Mivushal means in English. It's spelled sometimes in Hebrew and English, but in English usually all of the and even in Israel, you go to Israel, even there they have in Hebrew and of course in English. Same mivushal meaning it's cooked wine. So as we said, so this idolaters would not bring this cooked wine as a libation because it's an insult to the to the idol. Baruch HaShem. So at least we know it is insult. They would not do it. So Baruch HaShem, we can use it for our needs. No problem. Okay, that's a very, very important point. Very practical point. Continue. Number 4. So it says, regarding the food that is being cooked, that has wine mixed into it, and the wine is not discernible, the halacha is that even if it has not yet heated up, it does not become prohibited as a result of idolaters touching it. So let's see. So one more time, let's read one more time, try to understand. However, if food that is being cooked that has wine mixed into it, so usually I think that when they do red meat, they add sometimes in some dishes they add this wine, right? And the wine is not discernible. So the wine is there and it's not discernible. It's not like, I mean, most likely it got absorbed. Okay, that's I guess the case. The halacha is that even if it has not yet heated up, so meaning I'm not sure how is it possible, because we said it's, I mean it's I said sorry. So my example that usually where do they use wine for cooking? Maybe somebody have other examples, but they would cook with meat, and usually it does boil. So in any case, there is no problem, right? Because it's cooked wine. So we're talking about a case when the way I understand from this example, that non-Jew that is handles this dish, right? So can I eat it or not? Because why? Because it was initially wine in there, but but it got absorbed, and second thing, they say it got absorbed. And even if it was not heated up, but the way I understand, if it's for a meat, so of course it was heated up and it was boiling. Okay, but anyway, so he gives us this leniency. So even if it was not heated up, since it got absorbed, no problem. And it at least not absorbed, not discernible. Maybe there is like some, I don't know, some other liquids. 11 counter. If, however, the actual wine is discernible, for example, it remains floating on top of the mixture, it is prohibited if idolater touches it. Rama 123.5. Okay. All right. So if it's discernible, meaning the way I understand, it's a lot of wine in that dish. Okay. So it's still considered to be wine. Okay. But if it's not discernible, maybe a little wine, but mixed with vegetable oils, with oils from juices. So that's a different story. Okay. So number 5, halacha regarding diluted wine. That is that, I'm sorry, if it has a ratio of 6 parts water to 1 part wine, the wine is nullified and is not prohibited through the contact of an idolater. So contact, we're not saying that he actually touched with his finger, even like just handled. But raisin wine that is made by put in water into raisins and allow them to soak in it is considered regular wine. Okay, so we see below 53. So we're going to speak about it later. So let's try to understand what it says here. And we're going to, whatever he says here does not really apply to our times, and I'm going to explain why. So number 5, the halacha from the beginning. The halacha regarding diluted wine. So that diluted meaning it was a strong wine or whatever wine, right? Whatever we buy from the store, right? And you want to add water. Okay. The halacha regarding the diluted wine is that if it has a ratio of 6 parts of water to 1 part of wine. So you just imagine how strong that wine was, right? 6 to 1, right? So if it's less than 6 to 1, it's still wine. 6 to 1, it's ratio 6 to 1, it's not nullified. Commentary: there is the presence is not significant in the mixture and is not halachically classed as wine. With regard to this halacha, this is the case even if taste of wine is discernible. Sirma, Yordaya, and Igros Maishem. So what does it mean? So they dilute wine so much, right? And even if you can still taste wine, let's say 1 to 6, whatever, let's use the example. So it's still not considered wine. So today, all of the in a winery, they already dilute this wine a lot. So, and I think we spoke about it in a different class, but just to remind what we said there, today, maybe you're allowed to add 30%, maybe 40%. So because why? Because this wine is very diluted, whatever they sell in the stores. So, but as I said before, it's very, very recommended if you're planning to dilute more. So you have to call the company, not the company, but Kashrus agency, and ask them, give them exactly what brand, what year that you a wine you're talking about, and let them tell you how much you can dilute it. Because up to 30-40% maybe, it depends on wine, but more than that, it's not going to be wine. So here 6, when they say 1 to 6, it's very strong. Okay. So if somebody needs to dilute, and so I would say if it's better to dilute with grape juice, right? Grape juice and water, so it would be more on a safe side if you don't want wine for whatever reason. Right? Okay. So if it's diluted more than 1 to 6, or in our case, maybe it's twice as much, right? So it is not it's not prohibited through the contact with Idolater, right? And as we said, it still have a taste of wine. If you just add 50%, I don't know, 50% to our wine, what you buy from the store, is still going to be the same color. Maybe much lighter, but taste for sure you're going to have the taste. Okay, but raisin wine that is made by pouring water over the raisins and allow them to soak in it is considered regular wine. So that's what we suggest people who live in some remote areas or some countries, and they cannot, unfortunately, afford to buy wine. So, but raisins is mostly kosher, right? Because it's very simple way how they prepare. They just dry them on the sun, and that's it. So they can crush these raisins and pour hot water, let it soak for some time, and this mixture, this liquid is going to be considered 100% wine. There is no problem. So you can use it for kiddush. Okay, but as the author said, we're going to discuss how exactly to make this wine later on, not today. So commentary says there Kitzur discusses the particulars of this type of wine with regard to the loss of the blessing. So okay, It's very good point. So if wine is diluted too much, right, too much, so even though there is a taste of wine, and even though there is color of wine looks like a wine, so we're not since halakhically it's not considered to be wine, so we're not allowed to say Borei Pricha Geffen blessing. So we would have to say Shechako, that mixture. Okay, continue. Number 6. Regarding Temed, there is water that is poured into the grape seeds and leaves and left to soak. The halacha is that as long as it is of drinking quality, it is not to be permitted if idolater touched it. Okay, so that's the end of the halacha. So let's try to read from the beginning and try to understand. So regarding Temed, there is the water that is poured over the grape seeds and leaves. Commentary: leaves is a sediment that is found when alcoholic beverage is fermented. So today, so it's very interesting. Like very often in halacha they would use the word sediment, right? And I have younger students, Baruch Hashem, say, what is sediment? We never saw the sediment in our life, right? It's very interesting. Like, but in my days, in older days, like almost always, like on the bottom of wine, you would have the sediment, right? Of course, you're not going to drink it, but it's not good. But it was always there, right? So when they press the grapes, right, they have this sediment, right? I mean, they even I'm not sure why it was sediment before. Maybe they did not filter it. Maybe only once filter. Now they tripled filter. I'm not sure what is the difference, right? So very rare. I mean, me personally, I saw only in grape juice. It was organic grape juice, and we saw sediment. But otherwise, never. I mean, in the past, maybe I don't know, 15 years, never said. Okay, so very interesting. So actually, what Kitzur is saying is, so you can still produce wine. So that the cheap wine, like how they do it, it's not from the grapes. It's from grape seeds, and this sediment, right? And you pour water, right? Of course, it's not as strong. Of course, it's not as good, but it's still so. But it's still considered to be wine. Very interesting. The halacha is that as long as it is of drinking quality, right, it is not permitted if idolater touched it. So technically, so in other words, if a non-Jew touched it, it's considered because it's wine, so it is forbidden. So in a Jewish winery, it's only Jews can work, basically, right? Commentary. Although Temed must fill certain specific criteria in order to be considered wine, with regard to the reciting of blessing Borei Pricha Geffen, that's a different story, right? Which is translated as who created the fruit of the vine, and other laws. Nevertheless, as long as it is fit for drinking, it is not permitted if idolaters touched it, since it can be mistaken as actual wine. Yoredeya 1:3:9. It's a very interesting point. I mean, without this comment, it would be like hard to understand what's the difference. Maybe halachically, maybe so they say two separate things. So maybe if like this beverage is not that strong, right? Maybe it's not that concentrated. Maybe they pour too much water, and maybe you're not allowed to say the blessing, right? As for wine, maybe. But on the other hand, it looks so much as wine, so other people can make a mistake and take it as a wine, right? So we say, so even this beverage, if non-Jew is going to touch, not allowed to drink. Okay. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Okay. So then.
Rabbi,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
one of the questions I have is regarding, because it says Idolater, correct? But how how is it that an idolater is I don't know, like participating, like in near contact? I don't know.
Okay, oh, I mean, very, very common. Okay, let me give you example. For example, you're on I have many examples. I want to give you good examples. For you have like a cleaning lady, right? So a cleaning lady comes to you, she cleans your house, and you want to be nice. We also always wants to be nice to these people, and say if you want to eat whatever you want to eat, take go to refrigerator. You can take whatever you want to eat. There's no problem, right? The plates here. Here's the plates, paper plates. Here's a fork. Here's a knife. Here's a cup. You want a juice in there. You want a hot water, cold water, whatever you want. Help yourself. Let's say you have a separate refrigerator for milk. That is separate, so she can take a piece of meat, whatever, cookies. Okay. So and there in your refrigerator you have wine. So if she decided to do a little Chaim, so that's wine is not kosher. Or you have I give you it's one scenario. Another scenario, if you have for example a Jew who's not Shomer Shabbos and he knows that he must observe Shabbos, he's not up to it, he's whatever, right, or she, and they in your house and they want and you're so nice and they're so nice and they want pour you into your cup from the bottle, and this bottle is not cooked. So as soon as he touched the bottle, he wants to be nice, so you're not allowed to drink this wine. You have to spill it out. You understand? So it's very practical. Or you have we have non-Jews around you, like came to you to your house. I don't know, for whatever reason, and you want to be nice, so you serve them dinner, and you bring this bottle of wine, or they brought their bottle of wine. Says, you know what? I brought a kosher wine. Yeah, I went to the store. I asked for kosher wine, and guess what? It's not mevushal, right? And you say, and you almost have a heart attack. How are you going to explain that person that that brought you wine that you're not allowed to open it right now? Okay, so that's different scenarios. So it's very, very possible, right? But here we're talking in this case, it's actually like I have one student, so he's from this country when they have so the main product of the country is wine. So everybody were making wine in there, everybody. So he's a big expert. So when we learned this, and not we learned in a Rambam, so he was filling us with his details. Very interesting, right? How they would make wine, this and that. Very interesting. Okay, so go ahead.
So what do we do right after, like, let's say the cleaning lady or whoever is there?
Oh, that's it. No. No. That's it. I mean, since you see, it's a doubt. If it's a doubt if she touched it or not touched it. So if you saw for sure somebody touched it, like this colleague of yours from your work, right? For example, he's I don't know what happened. He has a fire in his house, and he ring the doorbell with his wife and said, and 7 kids, and can I stay over for a night till we find a new place? It's possible, right? So he had the fires. you serve them dinner, and very, very possible. So, but solution, as I said before, don't buy this wine. Don't buy not cooked wine unless you know that it's only my family. Everybody is Shomer Shabbos. Nobody's going to from outside is going to touch this wine. So, I mean, in my house we drink only non cooked wine, right? But it's always like on my right side, and nobody sits there, and everybody, all the guests know nobody touch. Even my wife, even she's forbidden to touch this wine. You understand? So, but it's years of training, so everybody knows not to touch. Don't be nice, and it's always covered. So according to some opinion, it's Zohar opinion and some opinion in Gemara. So even the non-Jew looks at your wine, it becomes non-kosher, forbidden. Forget about touching. Even looks at your wine. So we always we cover the bottle. No, not the bottle. This thing. Yeah, I forgot what it's called for wine. So we cover with material. So it would not they cannot see through. But I mean, if somebody would touch it, it would be a big risk, basically. That's the thing. You understand? So solution: don't put yourself in that situation. Period. Unless you know nothing is going to happen, or be ready to pour out all of the wine. You understand? Yeah, go ahead.
So if it's cooked, it's better if it's just to keep it easier. If you have a lot of people, let's say, coming in, it's better for it to be cooked.
Yes. It's not only better, but it's look. It's like you playing with fire. You playing if you cannot control it 100%. Like I said, I have on my right. We have only few guests. So if we have guests, they sit on the left. So okay. So nobody would reach to touch the wine. Do you understand? So that's controllable. But if it's not controllable, anybody so people say, well, what's going on with you? We cannot serve wine. You're greedy of this and that. So to avoid all of this, just buy cooked wine and you're fine. And they can pour themselves. There is no problem. So because, as we explained, this wine they would not bring to idolater, to idol worshiping. Go ahead. You good? Any other questions about wine? About
yes, about Rav.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The same rules applies to those who are in the conversion process as well, if they get invited over to.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Okay. Yes. So I mean, until a person converted, he's non-Jew. So okay, maybe he's not a daughter. Maybe yes, maybe no. So we try not to push, not to go into that direction. And it says actually even. So when we learn in another class, we learn deep inside. The Rambam said the problem even with the Noachites, right? So the Noachites, the Noachites, the Ger Tashav, they would live in Eretz Israel, who accepted 7 laws of Noach, not to worship idols. So Rambam said as Arabs or some other people, right? They're not idol worshippers. So sages said, so what's the problem with them? Can we drink their wine? Say absolutely not. So maybe that person, right, who wants to be that accepted 7 laws of Noach and he's righteous Noachite, righteous non-Jew 100%. But guess what? He has other people who come, his family. They're not so righteous. They're not so Noachite yet. They're on idol worshiping side. You understand? And the Rambam said that person everybody, many people, not everybody, but many people they cannot withhold the peer pressure from the family. You understand? So he's righteous until with his family until 20 or 30 of his relatives came over, and they're not listening. You're not going to tell us what to do. You understand? So it's we have to be very, very careful. So of course, people from in the middle of conversion, they still consider as a non-Jew, of course. And plus, Jews that do not keep Shabbos, they also consider to be non-Jews in a sense. And not only non-Jews, as idolaters of the worst kind. So if a person like that look at my wine, my family follow this opinion, so I have to pour out. It's not like we have very expensive wines, but still I don't want to pour out. No, so nobody touches and everybody knows. And everybody respect the rules. So, and I would suggest to everybody, establish rule of your house, and nobody is allowed to break it. You want to break my rules? Go out. That's it. Goodbye. I don't want to see you. You disrespected me, and doesn't matter how ridiculous this rule are to them that you I cannot use I cannot use this plate because it's from dairy. I like this plate. So you just quiet everybody down. That's my rules. You want to eat? Here's a plate. Here's a fork. Here's a knife. Only this. Understand? Otherwise, like people are going to run over you for sure. Any other questions? We continue. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so it's very interesting, very very practical, as we said about this grape wine, wine from raisins. So I don't want to discuss it now, but it's very very important rules to know. So number 7, then in the winemaking process, the juice of the grape is extracted by pressing the grapes onto inclined floor of the trading basins of the wine press or in a vat, which has the opening that can be unplugged to allow the juice from the press from the pressed grapes to flow out. Okay, see Shulchan Aruch. Okay, continue. This sieve defines the point at which the juice in a vat is considered wine, and therefore prohibited to be touched by idolater. So it's very. So let's try to understand it. It's not Kitzur. It's like a little introduction. So how do we make wine? We press the grapes and then the juice flow, right? But there is one area when they press, and then another area where all of the juice is collected. Just a liquid without all of this skin and grape seeds and other things. Okay, so the question is from what point this liquid, right, this grape juice is considered to be wine, right, halachically. Okay, so let's see. With regard to the grapes that are pressed in a vat, the rule is that once even a small amount of wine flowed forth from the vat as a result of the pressing, right, or even if did not flow, but one drew wine from it with the utensil, all of the liquid in the vat is considered wine, and becomes prohibited through the contact with the idolater. So basically, as soon as you start pressing, and the juice start flowing from this press into that container, so it becomes wine. Or somebody draw with a utensil. So even before it got to big barrel, right? Okay, so let's see commentary. There is by way of opening in a vat, through which the wine, through which the juice flows out. Of course, so you want to filter this juice from all of this residue, right? Refuse, not residue, refuse. Okay, continue. So then, and if idolater touches this point, right? So it's not, so it's forbidden. Prohibited to touch with idolater, even if only touch the peels and seed of the grape. So he did not touch the wine; he touched the peel and the seeds. But since the way I understand, since they're connected and they're still wet, right? So it's one of the liquids that transfer impurity, right? So impurity can be transferred through the 7 liquids, and wine is one of them. The moisture on the peels and seeds becomes prohibited, and prohibits the wine. So I guess the reason is I explained because it's connected. Okay. So they connected it through this moisture. Okay, is it wine? Okay, maybe it's not wine on the grapes, but on the peels, but it's still considered. Of course, it is moist, and that's why it is forbidden. So basically, that's why it's very very strict, very very strict for only juice and only Shomer Shabbos juice must work in this winery. In all other areas, like in bakery and catering business, only one person. You need only one person this, what is it, mashgiach. That's it. All other people can do the job, but not in a wine production. Therefore, watts of the pressed grapes that are standing in the house of idolater are to be deemed prohibited, out of the concern that idolaters may have drawn wine from the vat, thus consider conferring upon the liquid the status of wine, causing it to become prohibited. So it did not flow from the vat where it was pressed, but he drew with utensil, and it's like it became a wine already. So it's very like why would they say so? So because for example, somebody like want to be a contractor, right? A person wants to produce wine, but he does not want to like buy a winery or a kosher. It's like too much work, right? So he wants to process on somebody else's vat, non-Jewish vat, right? So he, let's say he rents, but it's on a territory of a non-Jew, right? Let's say next to his house, and non-Jew would have a key, so it would be forbidden because he can come any day, even though he's a multi-millionaire and he has all of the wine in the world, but still, you know what everybody wants, what is forbidden. If you tell him like don't touch it, don't this, don't that, and he has I don't know barrels and barrels of wine, he would want your wine for sure, guaranteed. So that's why it is forbidden. Okay. It is prohibited to have grapes pressed by idolater, as we said, even in a plugged vat. So they say, well, what is a plugged vat? So in order for this liquid, for this grape juice, I mean, in our understanding, the grape juice is 100% wine. So this liquid, let's call it liquid, to be considered wine. So it has to flow into this barrel or whatever they have, cistern, whatever they have, or somebody have to draw from this vat. So even a non-Jew, he's not touching anything. He's on top. He's working with the press, so we're not allowed. Right. So one more time. So even not like none of these conditions are met, right? To prohibit wine. So we're still concerned. Commentary. When the vat is plugged and the juice cannot flow from it, it will therefore not attain the halachic status of wine, exactly as we explained, through the process. Even so, one may not have an idolater to press it, because if that were allowed, one may come to permit idolater to press the grapes even after the wine has been drawn from the vat and thus prohibited the wine. Rama Yoredeya 1:23-21. So the obvious question is, look, we said it before, there are two actions that can transfer this liquid halachically, right, and make it wine. So none of the condition is met. Why you say this non-Jew is prohibited? Because why? Because once you allow this leniency, the next leniency is just coming out. It's coming for sure. It's coming next. That's why our sages they try to always create like universal law. So you would not need to remember this exception, that exception. For this we need Rabbi. So let's Rabbi remember all of these details. So I know the basic laws. Let's say I'm a simple person. I know all of the basic laws, so it's all of the universally apply. But if I have doubt, and if I think maybe there is a exception to my case, so I go to Rabbi. He gives an answer. Like somebody asking me a question. So he said, what is the blessing on this? And I say the blessing is misogyny. The person sent me a picture, and then he started asking this question, that question. It's one of the new students. And then and I could not understand why he asked me this question. Then it got to me. So I told him, don't ask me all of the intermediate questions. Like ask me the last question. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? And then I'm going to explain going backwards. You understand? because sometimes people like they don't have like enough knowledge, but they're trying to build the halacha in their mind from from little knowledge. It's not going to work. Okay, so continue. So coming to okay, no, okay. So the thing is, so the bottom line is, so sages created universal halacha, and even sometimes logically does not make sense, as in this case. So we still follow what they say, because one leniency in our life is going to follow by another. Okay. So number 9. Regarding an idolater who prohibited, like before we continue, so in my mind, like sometimes I don't go there, but when you walk in the city and you see this homeless person, right? And you look at this homeless person, and of course you feel bad for them, but he wasn't always homeless. Like one time he was like going to kindergarten. Maybe, of course, he had parents. I don't know, maybe went to school, this and that. Maybe he had parties. I don't know, maybe he had a bicycle. And one mistake led to another. And like a snowball, right? It became like huge, and now he's in the street. But he was not born in the street. Most of them were not born in a street in this next to this dumpster. They were not. So that's what our sages say. Don't do these leniencies. Okay, so continue. Number 9. Regarding an idolater who poured water into wine, the halacha is as follows. That's very interesting. If he intend to dilute it, it is prohibited to drink for drinking. But if he did not intend to dilute it, or even if there is a doubt as to what his intention was, it is permitted. So we have a wine, right? So he did not touch it, he did not pick it up, he did not move it, he did not shake it. Okay, so wine somewhere, and this idolater just poured water. Okay, so let's see. Let's read one more time, and there are a few commentaries. Regarding idolaters who poured water into wine, the halacha is as follows. If he intended to dilute it, so where's the problem? Commentary. In early times, wine was very strong and would be diluted before drinking. So it in the Talmudic times, it was actually forbidden to drink not diluted wine, for sure, because it was so strong, it would kill a person, right? So if he intended to dilute it, it is prohibited. Commentary. When he intends to dilute it, it can easily he can easily come to touch it. Shach Yerodea. So the way I understand what it says here, right? So it was wine. It was very strong, and now this non-Jew he wants to pour water so to make it drinkable, like this. Like I don't know how many degrees proof this wine. I have no idea, but it's very, very strong, very, very strong, right? Maybe even stronger than vodka here. That's like undiluted wine, because I think if you dilute vodka with 1 to 6, I'm not sure if you. I mean, maybe you're going to. I'm not vodka drinker. I'm not, but I don't think you would feel like much from this mixture, right? So, but the wine was very actually drinkable. It was pleasant drink. 1 to 6, 1 to 5, let's say. Okay. So the rationale is it was a very strong wine, and this non-Jew poured water, right? So meaning that it now it is suitable for drinking. So maybe he touched it. So that's the next step. Maybe he touched it. Maybe, right? But if he did not intend to dilute it, so I'm not sure. Maybe why he poured water, for whatever other reason, or even if there is a doubt as to whether his intention were, so it is permitted. Okay, so after the fact, since we did not know and he did not touch it, only pour the water, right? So after the fact, we allowed it to be drank. Continue, number 10. So number 10. Regarding wine vinegar that was produced from kosher wine. It is of if it is yeah, that's very interesting. So go try to find kosher vinegar, wine vinegar. It's not. It's only a few companies that make it. Right, only a few. Right, we're looking. It's very interesting. Only a few. I mean, if you go to the kosher store, yes, but in regular like big supermarkets, like national brands, only a few, and not everywhere. Okay. So one more time, regarding wine vinegar that was produced from a kosher wine, of course, if it is so strong that it bubbles when it's poured on the ground, wow, that's strong. It no longer becomes prohibited through the contact of idolater, for it is no longer considered wine. So one more time, with regard to the wine vinegar that was produced from kosher wine, if it is so strong, I'm not sure how they what makes the vinegar stronger than wine. Don't ask me, I don't know. That it bubbles when they pour it on the ground. So I mean, but we understand it's very strong. It is no longer becomes prohibited through a contact of idolaters. So basically, why? Because it's not wine. For it is no longer considered wine. So it's no longer considered wine halachically, right? And they would not pour to the deities. That's the thing. If the vinegar was produced from the wine of idolaters, it remains prohibited forever. There is no matter how strong it subsequently becomes. Commentary. There is before it became vinegar, it was already prohibited due to the prohibition of the wine of idolaters. So that's a general rule that we're going to learn in our Thursday class, Kosher Kitchen, that some things may be allowed if they were nullified. So what is a nullification? So it's simple nullification, for example, meat and milk. So if it's 1 to 60, there is no problem. So if it's 60 times more of permitted than prohibited, right? And you cannot discern the taste of forbidden entity, so there is no problem, right? It is fine. But it's only when it was after the fact. So we were cooking meat, and kid played with his milk with his brother, and he did it like this with a cup. Milk flew, went into our pot with milk. So we looked, and it was actually like dissolved, but we understand that it's like less than 60, so the meat is allowed, right? It's permitted. But if we did it intentionally in the beginning, like we pour some milk and then we put like a little milk, doesn't matter how much milk, a little few drops, and then we add 1,000 more times meat, then it's not allowed because it was forbidden to begin with. That's what they're talking about. So it's not after the fact. So this wine, non-kosher wine, right? So it was prohibited, and just because it became vinegar, and just because this vinegar is very strong, does not make it kosher. So that's one of the very interesting approaches. Okay. Any questions on what we said? No questions. Okay. So. Yeah, so and then plus it was very interesting. I don't know when my wife asked me to look into this kosher wine vinegars. So the price, I told her the price for the wine vinegar, it was more expensive for wine. I said, well, why do you need wine? Vinegar, let's buy wine. It's good. Even wine was even cheaper than this vinegar. I'm not sure what's so special that vinegar, but it's very interesting. Go ahead, question, yes.
Rabbi, you said that we're not allowed to drink grape juice from non-Jews, right? Correct?
Yeah. Okay. One second. So if it has a stamp kosher, so one second. So grape juice have a status of wine, exactly the same. There is no difference whatsoever. So you have to make sure that this grape juice is kosher, right? And it's cooked. It's going to say on the bottle it's cooked or non-cooked. You understand? So I give you this example. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. But could you speak a little louder? Please speak a little louder. Cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, one of the examples I was gonna give is let's say you have, I don't know, a maid inside your house, and I don't know, and she offers you to make like a grape juice with grapes. Are you allowed to drink that?
No. This grape juice, look, one second. We said once it starts flowing into your container, whatever container is, it could be cup, right? How that's what we made. And I told my students, they got stuck somewhere. I said go to market, buy these grapes and squeeze them, and you can do the kiddush 100%. Like after the fact, there is wine. So when it starts flowing, that's it. It's wine. Go ahead.
Thank you. You answered my question. Thank you.
Yes. So okay. So So that's the thing. So and as a side point, so if you got stuck somewhere or like this person who I said one of my students, he's originally from that country where they have a lot of grapes, a lot. So he said that it was like cheaper than soda. Soda like it's crazy price. Right, but grapes, everybody had grapes and everybody were making wine, juice and non-juice. Very interesting. Okay, so, but if for example, somebody wants to make wine, first of all, I'm not sure. I think you have to boil it anyway because otherwise it's going to spoil, right? But that's a different issue. Okay. Just 1 second, let me see what. Sorry, I lost it. Okay, so we said about the vinegar. So, and we said, okay. Okay, so number 11. So let's do a little more. Number 11. Similarly, brandy that was produced from wine of idolaters, or from peels, seeds, or leaves that remain after idolaters press grapes into wine. It is considered like actual wine and prohibited. Number 23. Blended whiskey that contains a small amount of wine of idolaters is permitted. If the prohibited wine amounts 1/7 of the total or less, it is nevertheless fitting for a pious individual to avoid the drinking. So today, what is the problem is? Okay, I would never know this issue, but in one of the classes, so they did like modern issues with some things, right? Like contemporary halacha, and it was very interesting. Some brandy, some whiskey were made actually in barrels from a non-kosher wine. So I don't know who came up with this idea. So they would ship, I think, from Spain to somewhere to Europe, right? Like all of these barrels and barrels of wine. And in order not to ship like empty barrels back, so they would use these barrels and produce whiskey, right? So that whiskey is, I don't remember what is it called and what is the process called, but you can look up on the internet. So it's not the whiskey or brandy or whatever it is, I'm not sure. So it's not kosher because they do not wash the barrels very good. So they actually proud that this brandy actually absorbed some taste of this expensive wine. You understand? So for us, it's like you're going in the beginning in the wrong direction. That's very wrong. Okay. So, but he has said it's very lenient. So he said, so let me read again and we explain one more time. Similarly, brandy that was produced from the wine of idolaters. Like, I'm not sure how you do brandy from that, but from or from peels or seed or leaves that remain after the idolater spreads the grapes into wine is considered like actual wine and prohibited. So it's like on it's not from wine, or maybe it's from wine or from this residue from whatever like leftover from non-Jewish wine. So it looks like it's very strong. So the sediment is very, very strong. I don't know why, but that's what my student told me. Right, it's very strong, and they did brandy from that. Okay, so it's not kosher. However, with regard to the brandy that was produced from kosher wine, right, the halacha is that once it becomes brandy, the contact of idolater does not cause it become prohibited. So now, if it was kosher wine, and now they did from whatever leftovers this brandy or use this barrel, even this brandy absorbs some taste of wine. It's not there's no problem whatsoever because the wine is nullified, and initially it was permitted. So that's exactly the same formula that we must remember. So all of this nullification works only after the fact. We cannot plan to be wicked and then see like how halacha is going to help us. Okay, so that's it. So let's see. Okay, let's do one more. Regarding tartar of an idolater, it has become a widespread custom to permit it, since it does not offer pleasure to the palate. So what is tartar? Let's see. Regarding tartar, commented tartar or a cream of tartar is a residue that accumulates on the walls of the wine barrel. It is used for baking in baking powder and medicine. Okay. Regarding the tartar of idolater, baking powder, it becomes widespread custom to permit it. Okay. Since it does not offer pleasure to the palate. So commentary. Some authorities prohibit tartar of an idolater. However, even according to these authorities, it was if it was heated in utensil, the utensil is permitted after the 12 months have passed. So it's very interesting. So I'm not sure if you're using tartar today, but that's the job for all discussion authorities. They must investigate like very, very closely and tell us whether or not we're allowed to eat it. And it's I just want to comment on this last point. If you rent out or this wine press to non-Jew, that's what you must wait. So if you don't want to do anything, you have to wait 1 year until it becomes kosher again, or you have to wash and scrape and this and that. So it's very big deal to kosher all of these things. Okay. All right, no problem. So I think we can stop here. So buy only kosher wines. Some of them you can buy on the internet. And if you buy like over a certain limit, they even ship it for free. So I mean, they send all of this I don't know, advertisement, at least to me. Like I never taste this wine, but like $12 a bottle, $11, $15, like not very expensive. Okay, so we stop here. Any questions on any topic? Okay, no questions. Okay, no questions, no problem. So let's stop here then. If no questions, so until tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to continue with our Rambam class. Thank you very much and good night.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
One of the questions I have, it has to do with the parasha of this week.
Okay.
It has to do with let me see, because I wrote it somewhere. I just can't find it right now. Okay, let me see if I remember. Okay, it was when it says Pharaoh, right? And then it says the king of Egypt. Why does the Torah have to specify king of Egypt when we already know Pharaoh is the king of Egypt?
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what verse you're referring to, but I remember what Rashi said. So even though he was Pharaoh, and he was the lowest of the lowest, as we understand, but still Moshe was not allowed to disrespect him. Why? Because he was a king of Egypt. And all of the kings and presidents and all these top people in the world, they are actually appointed to by HaShem. So it doesn't matter how wicked they are. You understand? That they're approved by HaShem. That's why we must respect them. And there is a special halacha that we have, if you know that the king is in your town, he's going to pass. You have to go to the king, flesh and blood, right? So and you have to say special blessings. It's actually now Siddur. I think I'm not sure if in everybody's Siddur, but check your Siddur, or at least it's in Shulchan Aruch for sure. There is special blessing on king. So why do you need like this non-Jewish king, right? This president of America, let's say, right? Whatever his name is, right? So if he comes to my town, I have to go, like, stop learning and go say blessing, and I would just say yes, yeah, that's what you have to do. Why? Because you see like how the people that treat, like, respect this this king. Well, let's call him king, right? Of flesh and blood. So needless to say, how do we are we obligated to respect the kings of the kings, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You understand? So that's so on presidents, they say maybe you're not allowed to say blessing with Hashem's name. Why? Because it's not like a king. So definition of the king, maybe in Africa, these kings, right? In I don't know what else, in Saudi Arabia, these kings, meaning that if he says you go home without your head today because you did not look that maybe is respect. So I mean, he has this power to kill on the spot. So that's the king that we have to say blessing with Hashem's name. But without, if he does not have this power, like a president of America or other presidents, so we say without Hashem's name. You understand? But still, we have to respect them. So he's a pharaoh. He's low life, but he's a king of Egypt.
Oh, it's Shemot chapter 14, verse 8.
Okay, but I
found it.
Yeah, okay. So send me later. I mean, if there's interesting commentary, so we can look at it tomorrow. I don't have right now. Okay. Any other questions on any topic? Okay, so if not, so we can stop here. So tomorrow we continue with the Rambam. So it's a very interesting topic. So please join us. Thank you and good night.